Now, in June 2016, I posted a video that said the Great Barrier Reef is not dying. The amount of abuse that I copped for posting this video is absolutely unbelievable. Most of it coming from people that have never been to the Great Barrier Reef. Now, I've just recently came back from a trip to the Great Barrier Reef in which I went to various dive sites, and the Great Barrier Reef as of 2020 is looking absolutely fabulous. And my advice is, if you get a chance to go to the Great Barrier Reef, go and see it. It's amazing. Don't go and see it because you think it's the last chance you've got, because that's just absolutely not the case. Now, it is undisputable that there are lots of stresses that Great Barrier Reef faces right now, and there's a lot that we can do to try to improve the situation for the Great Barrier Reef. And I am an absolute advocate of doing everything that we can to improve the Great Barrier Reef. But the fear-mongering that the media wants you to believe that it's dead is absolutely false. I recently also spoke to one of the top researchers who's quoted all over the media and doing interviews about how the Great Barrier Reef's dead. And I said to him, why are you going around telling everyone it's dead? And he's like, well, you know what? I sleep well at night, because the amount of money we're getting from corporates and the amount of research that we're able to do as a result of this media blitz is amazing. And you know what? He's right. They're doing a lot of really good work, a lot of really good stuff, which is really actually helping the Great Barrier Reef, is coming out of all this fear-mongering. But the energy is wrong. We are fear-mongering and making people think that it's dying, and we're sending the Great Barrier Reef dread. I've even heard stories of an 11-year-old girl that killed herself because she was depressed about situations such as the Great Barrier Reef. It's just wrong. We need to improve the Great Barrier Reef out of understanding, out of love, out of respect, out of all these energies that this living organism is going to respond to. Now, while I was there, I spoke to various charter boat operators and divers that actually live and breathe the Great Barrier Reef. I've spoke to divers that dive right up and down the Great Barrier Reef, particularly at some of the collectors that I'm friends with. And they say, you know what? The Great Barrier Reef is looking amazing. The diversity is beautiful, and it really is looking good right now. But that's not what the media wants you to believe. Now, some of the charter boat operators have also told me that on a regular basis, they get reporters coming from overseas that say, take us to the parts of the reef it's dead. And they're like, well, you know what? It's not dead. A few years ago, there was some major stresses and there was some major bleaching that occurred. But bleaching doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. A coral will bleach due to various stresses such as temperature, oxygen levels, other various things. But the coral will release its zooxanthellae, it will bleach. Then if the environment is able to improve, the coral can take its zooxanthellae back in again, and it's back in business in a best case scenario. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's dead. So he follows the reports from these same reporters that have come to see the dead reef, and then he finds that sometime later he sees that story from that report, and it's got all the same footage from a few years ago, and they're really not interested in telling what the truth is. They're just interested in a shock value story that fills their narrative, which they'd planned before they even came to do any research whatsoever. So another thing that's occurring that you never hear about is how much the reef is evolving, how they are finding new species, how it's moving south. So therefore, various species of coral that were never found in areas like Bribie Island and Stradbroke Island and Ballina and all these areas in the south. So the ability the coral reef has to move and throw out its seed and recolonize is absolutely amazing and can never be underrated. So if you look at the Great Barrier Reef over a period of millions of years, it's actually amazing. Like right now it's that, for example. Then a million years ago it was this, then it was this, then it was that, then it was this, for example. And how much it has expanded and contracted and moved, evolved, changed is absolutely amazing. And what just sets all this off is a friend of mine during all these bleaching events went and took a whole lot of quality cinematography footage of the Great Barrier Reef when it was dying, or when it was bleaching, and when it was under these massive stresses. And he sold them to all the news outlets and made heaps of money out of it. Now, recently, he actually went to a lot of those same areas, took more footage, and wanted to show them, hey, you know what? It's actually looking really good right now. And he didn't get a single reply from all those people that had bought his doom and gloom footage. They're not interested in the fact that the Great Barrier Reef's looking amazing. Nobody cares when it's going well. Everyone only cares when it's dying. So put a little comment in the bottom of this video. I'm not interested in your comments if you don't know anything about it, or that you've never been to the Great Barrier Reef. I'm interested in people. Have you been there recently? What do you actually know that isn't just fed to you from mainstream media? So basically, I encourage all research. I encourage all donations. I encourage everything we can to understand and improve and support the Great Barrier Reef. But I'm energetically against the absolute doom and gloom. So to say that it's dead is not correct. To say that it's under stress, to say that there's a lot that we need to do to improve it is really accurate. Anyway, give us a comment and let us know what you think. Is this the first time you've heard this information? Because it's certainly not out there. The Great Barrier Reef is beautiful. The Great Barrier Reef is diverse. The Great Barrier Reef cannot be underestimated. But it does need love, and it does need to be looked after.